One of my favorite wrestling matches ever in TNA Wrestling was the Bound for Glory 2005 Monsters Ball match. Uh, about 11 minutes into that match, Jeff Hardy does, Jeff Hardy things, climb up onto the tall stuff and jump off of it. And it's hard to say this, and because of just what I heard. And Don West makes it, just from calling it, made it sound like it meant something. Jeff Hardy gets up there and Don's like saying, "This is absolutely, oh my gosh, that was freaking insane." And that was the moment where I was sold on Don West as a wrestling commentator. Because in years before, I was kind of annoyed. But that was only because I was used to guys like, JR, Joey Styles, even Vince McMahon was, in my opinion, better than Don West. That was my opinion in 2004, before the Bound for Glory 05 match. And when I heard that Don West passed yesterday, it's funny. I was like thinking of him. I was doing that call that he did in the Bound for Glory 2005 match, and I get home, and all of a sudden I'm watching a SmackDown review, and apparently the show started with a tribute to Don West, who didn't even work in WWE at all. He didn't even touch WWE. So for WWE to do that, put out that graphic and have Michael Cole talk about a little bit for a couple seconds about Don West is actually really, really cool of them to do that. And yeah, I remember like Don West really appearing extremely inexperienced when he first started out in 2002 as part of TNA Wrestling's like their first commentary team. But the vibe that I did get from him going into 2005 was that he was learning as he was commentating. And yes, he was incredibly loud. Yes, he was probably way too energetic for his own good. But that didn't matter because he made you feel. He made everything seem real, like it was an actual fan, like we didn't know anything, was seeing stuff that he didn't know about, but he made it look really cool. And he made it sound like it was like the coolest stuff that could ever happen. And it's funny because 5, 6, 7 years ago when I first started hearing Mauro Ranallo doing play-by-play for wrestling shows, I was like, man, he sounds eerily like Don West, Mauro Ranallo does. A lot more knowledgeable, but very similar. And so I think that's what we've seen from Don West over the years in the 2000s, going into the late 2000s. He would eventually stop doing commentary in '09, late '09, I believe, and would start doing like merchandise stuff, which that was his background anyways. And so whatever. And then he would come back to call some stuff. He was like the manager for Amazing Red, which was awesome because Amazing Red, like he was not a talker at all. So that was cool that West was able to step in for that. But yeah, that's how I remember Don West. Like the commentators just grew on me throughout the 2000s when I was really like a really big wrestling fan. Nowadays, not so much. That kind of all ended in about 2018 or so. That's when I really stopped really like caring. Um, and yeah, um, that's all I want to say. Uh, he had health problems because I think he had some kind of cancer, and no one knows more about that than I do. My dad died about the same age as Don West. Don was he's pushing 60. My dad was 53. So yeah, um, and it sucks to see someone go so young. I mean, late 50s, you still have a lot of years ahead of you, and it's unfortunate, very unfortunate, very sad that Don West didn't get that, and it's unfortunate. It really sucks that he's not with us anymore, and that's one thing that I think that everyone should be going into. That's the mentality that everyone should be going into 2023, is that you need to appreciate what you have, because you will not have it. You may not have it tomorrow. You may not have it next week or whatever. You may not have it next year. So, yeah. So, rest in power, rest in peace, Don West. We all miss you. I think any fan who didn't like you has grown onto you. I definitely grew on him a lot. And I think a lot of other fans would say the exact same thing. All right. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Happy New Year. I got a lot of stuff planned for my channel on going into 2023. Big stuff, but I just want to say it. I just want to announce it. That's it. It's all going to get worked on stuff, but that's going to be behind the scenes stuff. Lots of big things coming your way. All right. Take care, everybody, and Happy New Year once again.